Everyone ready to roll? Welcome, everyone. I don't know what route you took to find this masterclass, but I know why you're here. If you're here today on this masterclass, get ready to make a big shift in your life. I want to share with you some stories I've never shared publicly before. And in the course of this masterclass, I'm going to bring in some powerful ideas from a wide variety of different Mindvalley teachers and authors. I'm going to integrate these ideas into a framework which I believe can make a profound impact on your life. So, if you're here, you're most likely here for a reason. My agenda today, in a small amount of time together, is to give you some really powerful strategies to help you in your personal growth and in your life journey. The aim is to create confidence where there is uncertainty. My goal is to unlock within you this true potential of yours that might be shining but just needing of a little bit of dusting to fully emerge. And that's why I want to thank you for showing up. That is the first step. The fact that you are making an hour of your time available to invest in your personal growth says something remarkable about you. You know, a couple of days ago, I was on a call with Robin Sharma, the famous personal growth teacher and one of our Mindvalley authors. He was telling me that as he's been traveling the world coaching high-performance athletes, billionaires, and other remarkable individuals, the one thing they all have in common is that they set aside an hour every single day for personal growth. You have shown that you have those seeds within you by setting aside that hour for this class together. Now I know that you guys come from a wide variety of different backgrounds and countries and cultures, and all of you may have a different reason for showing up here. In fact, some of you may be hardcore Mindvalley fans who've been following us for 10 years. Others, this may be your first exposure at Mindvalley. So before we begin, I want to take a few minutes to tell you what Mindvalley is all about, because we're a company that's evolving so fast, and that evolution is tied to the personal growth practices that me and everybody in my team embrace. Some of these practices we're going to give you today, right now, so stay tuned. Mindvalley's mission is to reprogram the human race. We are an amazing species and we have come so far. But if you look at the world today, there's so much further we can go in terms of how we treat ourselves as citizens of a country, in terms of how we come together as a global community, in terms of how we work and how we educate our children and how we treat our health. And while within all of us lie these seeds of great possibility, they are voices, media, dogma, elements of culture and politics all around us that hold us back. In poll after poll after poll, studies show that as much as 87% of all humans dislike their jobs. Studies show that 54% of kids dislike school. Studies show that people are fearing the way politics is evolving in the world today. And studies show that so many people today, despite the power within them, still wake up with fears, with anxieties, with sadness, with depression, with failing to see the beauty that they might have within. And so Mindvalley's job, together with all of you, is to create the best programs in evolving the human species and to deploy these within work, within education systems around the world, to deploy these within each individual, such as yourself, to deploy these within constructs where we work with other people, parenting, love, to deploy these within nations so we can be better citizens, and to deploy these for humanity as a whole so we don't mess up the planet. How we do this is by creating the world's singular best transformational platform. We call it Mindvalley Quest, and it's famous for having one of the highest completion rates of any learning platform out there. In other words, people who start these programs finish them and see dramatic results. We also do these by scouring the world to bring to you the world's greatest teachers, men and women across multiple cultures who are leading the charge in elevating human consciousness in every dimension of being. We've gone from mere mobile apps to world-class festivals to reinventing workplaces. But I want to share with you a photo that shows you what transformation is really about. I feel really blessed about my life today. I get to travel the world, have amazing adventures, meet some of the most incredible individuals on the planet. I get to speak to thousands of people at a time. Yesterday, I was addressing a crowd of 1,800 people. But if I go back just a few years ago to 2003, 16 years ago when I started, this is what my life looked like. So this is actually a picture of me in my crummy little apartment in New York. You can see I could barely afford pants. And I'm working on a table and a chair that was salvaged from the street. One of the beautiful things about New Yorkers is every time IKEA releases the new catalog of its furniture, all the old IKEA crap, we put it out on the street for our neighbors to grab. So I was grabbing old, outdated IKEA furniture. The funny thing about that picture was I was just getting started. And in that picture, I'm building the first Mindvalley meditation website because I had decided I was going to teach meditation. I had just started exploring this field. So I had to start somewhere too. But through the gradual accumulation of transformation in every dimension of my life transformed. And I was able to make this big impact on millions of people. This isn't just possible for me. It's possible for anybody who's willing to put in the time, the dedication, and the willingness to dream big and then put themselves through a journey of transformation. And if you agree that this type of change is possible for anyone and that you're ready for it, I want you to make a commitment right now. Don't say it mentally. Don't write it down. I want you to verbally say, pretend I can hear you say, I'm ready to make a shift. Now say, I'm ready to show up as my best self. Now say, I'm ready to rock this world. All of us have this capability. Yesterday, one of the leaders of the Malaysian government put up this post on Instagram. And let me read it to you. She basically said that in 5 hours of training, I was able to teach 500 members of the Malaysian government wisdom and ideas that it took her, their leader, 4 years to figure out. And she's one of the most remarkable women leaders on the planet. Now, we don't have 5 hours together. We have just over 1. But imagine what you're going to learn. You are going to learn what I believe will take you a year or 2 to figure out on your own. And you're going to learn this effortlessly. So please have a journal ready. Please pay attention and get ready to go on a pretty interesting ride. I want you first to do an exercise with me. I call this exercise the time machine. I want you, as you're sitting on your chair right now, to imagine yourself in the future. I want you to actually get up off your chair. I can't do it right now because of the cameras pointed at me and the fact that I have a boom mic and I would hit my head. But I want you to get off your chair and take a step forward. And imagine as you take this step forward that you have stepped into your future self. I want you to imagine that you've stepped into your life 10 years ahead. No matter how old you are, you've stepped into your life 10 years ahead. Let your imagination flow. What do you see? What do you feel? Who are the people around you? What are the dominant feelings that come to mind? What is your environment like? How do you feel about yourself? What goals or visions that captivate you do you feel you've now pulled off? How much wiser are you? Now, I want you to turn around. Turn around and imagine you're facing your present self. Imagine you are your future self 10 years ahead. And imagine you're facing your present self on that chair you were seated on. What advice would you give your present self? Just let it flow. Use your imagination. Don't overthink this. What advice would you give your present self from the future embodiment of you? Often, the first thought that comes to mind is the most accurate and intuitive thought. Now write that down. Sit down back in your chair. Imagine you are merging with your present self. Take out your notebooks. Write that down. I'll give you a minute. Write down the insight. Write down any visions that came to you. Write down the feelings that you felt. Mostly, write down the advice that you felt your future self was giving you today. Was it to grow more? Was it to learn more? Was it to believe in yourself more? Was it to travel more? Was it to love more? Thank you. You can finish up your writing and put your pens down. I did that exercise about a month ago. Now, what I know is that what I put down is that I wanted Mindvalley to play a bigger role in the world. I feel that there is so much in the world today that we need to help heal, from the way work functions, to the way human beings interact with each other, to the way we elect our political leaders, to helping human beings uncover just how much power and potential they have within. And I realized that we need to change the way we run our business. So at the end of this masterclass, if you stay, I'm going to also share with you a big evolutionary leap that we are making at Mindvalley that I think you're going to find absolutely fascinating. And I want to stress, this is not just a leap in Mindvalley. This is a leap for the entire personal growth industry. It is the biggest leap that I believe this industry has ever seen. It's huge, and it's going to change everything. But first, I gotta tell you how we got here. So, this picture that you're seeing, this is the apartment in New York where Mindvalley first started. This was in 2003. And back then, when I moved to that apartment, I came to know from the guy who rented it out to me that 2 years before, this apartment was actually a Thai massage parlor. And we all know what Thai massage parlor is code word for in Times Square. And you would think that after 10 years doing what we did, I would have figured this out. But in 2013, life decided to come down and punch me in the face repeatedly for a span of 3 years. Let me tell you exactly what happened here, because all of us have experienced this. In spiritual growth, we call this the suffering that leads to insight. What happened is, November 2013, I suddenly discovered that my trusted accountant, who had been working for me for 5 years, had been stealing from the company. And it wasn't the money loss that hurt, it was that feeling of betrayal. And I really ended up beating myself bad because of that. But that wasn't all. 6 months later, we lost our biggest product. Our biggest product in Mindvalley in the summer of 2014 was the Silva method. We had a partnership with that company. However, a new CEO who had stepped in decided that he could do better, poached some of our employees, and decided to run the business on his own and cut us out. I didn't want to fight a lawsuit. I did not want to bring that type of negativity in my life. So I decided to simply give her the entire business. So she inherited the biggest chunk of Mindvalley. That was a painful period. And now that we had lost our biggest business, Christmas of December 2014, I suddenly came to find out that we didn't have enough money in the bank to pay our employees. And this was horrifying. I was faced with the choice of selling my car. But just then, I spoke to my executive team, and they agreed to take a pay cut and not get their Christmas, December salary so everyone else could be paid. I was so grateful to them. Fortunately, come January, we had a sudden increase in student enrollments, and I was able to pay everyone's salary. This was 3 years of pain, and every year within that 3 years, we almost went bankrupt. And I was wondering, why does the universe keep punishing me over and over and over again? And then I figured it out. And I wanted to share what I figured out with you because I think this might have some profound insight for you too. Let me first show you a really interesting study. This text that you see here comes from a book called Exponential Organizations by Salim Ismail. Salim Ismail wrote that Google recently demonstrated that its best employees were not Ivy League students, but rather young people who had experienced a big loss in their lives and had been able to transform that experience into growth. According to Google, deep personal loss has resulted in employees who are more humble and open to listening and learning. I believe that loss and suffering are often the greatest things that get us to grow. And loss and suffering are two of the biggest tools that our soul uses to smack us at the back of the head when we are moving in the wrong direction. And that was essentially what was going on with me. In those 3 years, what I was doing was being a CEO. I was running a business, but I wasn't immersing myself in personal growth. In short, I had forgotten who I really was. And I remember during this time, Sri Kumar Rao, who is now one of our authors, back then he was one of my mentors, and I asked Rao, what advice would you give me? So Rao said, I'm not going to give you advice. All I want you to do is to meditate on this poem. I'm going to read it out to you. And he went on to explain that this poem came from a 13th century philosopher called Rumi. When I run after what I think I want, my days are a furnace of distress and anxiety. But if I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me, and without any pain. From this I understand that what I want also wants me, is looking for me, and attracting me. There is a great secret in this for everyone who can grasp it. Rumi wrote a lot about life, and his poems have this deep meaning. People interpret them in different ways. What I interpreted from this poem was absolutely nothing. I read it, it sounded beautiful, but I didn't fully understand it. But over the next couple of months, new layers of understanding emerged. It was kind of funny. When you commit to personal growth every single day, what happens is that incredible insights emerge, and things that you read before that you never fully grasped suddenly start making meaning. That's what started happening. With the conversation with Sri Kumar Rao, I understood that the best way to overcome the stress and the chaos was not to immerse myself in the stress and the chaos. Rather, it was to immerse myself, in personal growth. Listen again to what Rumi said. When I run after what I think I want, fixing the business, right? My life is a furnace of distress and anxiety, but if I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me without any pain. I realized that what I thought I want and what I really wanted were two different things. There is what you want from the conscious perspective. In my case, I just freaking wanted the business to survive. I wanted to pay off our debts. I wanted people to stop stealing from me. But what I realized is that there's the next level, and that is what the soul wants, and I wasn't paying attention to that. Now, fortunately, as life would have it, another interesting master entered my life. I ended up doing an interview with Reverend Michael Beckwith, and he introduced me to this concept, Kensho versus Satori. Michael Beckwith said that as we go through life, our soul will try to pull us in the right direction. And if we choose not to listen, our soul will push us through pain. This is called a Kensho moment. Kensho moments are when your health breaks down and you're in hospital, but you emerge from that knowing how to better take care of your body. Kensho moments are your business goes bankrupt, or you go through some stress like I did, but you emerge from that knowing what not to do. That is one way the soul speaks to you. But there's another way, and that is through Satori or insight. Satori or insight is when you sit in that place of patience, as Rumi spoke of, and listen within, and immerse yourself in personal growth, in self-study, in rumination, in introspection, in meditation. Satori is change through insight in a gentle, beautiful way. Kensho is change through pain. What would you rather have in the world? Now I realized that I could shift my life in a dramatic way and avoid this bullshit Kensho moments if I stopped struggling and pushing and learned to go within and dedicate myself to my practice to make personal growth a part of my daily life. The first big shift I made, and believe it or not, I wasn't doing it back then, but the first big shift I made was dedicating 1 hour every single day to immerse myself in personal growth. The next shift I made was I decided that I was no longer going to publish any program on Mindvalley that I did not believe in. Now, we only publish programs that our team wants to study. programs that I am in love with. And so we do this so that we can immerse ourselves in the best programs in the world and not just think about what to sell to people, but to truly bring to the world what truly creates change. These shifts transformed the company. At that time, I felt stuck. And I know you may be asking yourself the same question. Vishen, I'm in personal growth. Why does it still seem like a struggle? And I want to share with you an insight. So I had those 3 years of toil, of pain, of struggle. And one of the insights I got was that I was trying to do things to be somebody. Have you ever heard that famous Frank Sinatra song? Doobie doobie doo. So Frank Sinatra, I believe, had it wrong. It's not doobie doobie, it's rather be do. When Rumi said, when I sit in my own place of silence, I find that what I want also wants me. That is the difference between being in a certain state and then allowing the universe to do the doing, versus you trying to do the doing and going through stress and anxiety. So I'm going to teach you how to get to that state. But if you have been reading or hearing about people who talk about being in a state of mastery where you see extreme synchronicities, if you've read of books like Michael Singer's Surrender Experiment, this is what they're talking about. It's going to that state of being versus doing. Now, when I got to that state, a couple of remarkable things happened. The first is Mindvalley started growing like crazy, 50% year on year. The authors that came to Mindvalley were not just people we were signing a publishing deal with. They were like family. Many of my closest friends in the world are our Mindvalley teachers. We gather together at events like A-Fest and bond as a tribe. A funny thing that happened is that my life transformed. The picture on the left is a picture of me in 2016, just as I was coming out of this painful trap. The picture on the right is me just 2 years later. My health transforms. It is insane what happened, but it seemed as if I was tapping into a new form of energy that was actually keeping me younger and healthier. And one of the biggest things that happened was Mindvalley Quest. We decided we were going to take down all our programs and focus on a new learning methodology and set a goal to create the best learning methodology on the planet. And Quest transformed Mindvalley. And it's now the main thing that transforms the lives of 250,000 students every single year who enroll in these 30-day quests. It seemed as if I had allies. It seemed as if synchronicities would flow. It seemed as if I would attract the right people at the right time. One of the most funny examples of this was we used to have a department of 3 people who went out to bring authors into Mindvalley. We got rid of that entire department because we didn't need it anymore. The right authors were automatically calling us up. Now, all of you, if you remember certain points in your life, you've probably been in these states where life just seemed lucky or life just seemed in flow. But many of us go there and fall out. I've been there now for 3 years, and I want to share with you a framework to get there and to stay there. Now, this framework goes back to the simple idea of being versus doing. Are you guys ready? As I went deep into my spiritual practice, as I started connecting with some of these incredible minds coming to Mindvalley, I realized that life was not about being the father. It was not about being the CEO. It was not about being the particular title you have in your job. Rather, life was about one thing. Everything else was external. These were the rules of life. It was what the culturescape tells you to be. I realized that the true art of living life is to go straight into what are your values, what are your core soul identities, and living from that. And when I decided to look within and figure out what were these identities, 3 things came to mind, 3 ideas. Number 1, transformation, that the soul wants to continuously evolve and transform. The second idea is unity. Souls are not just here to selfishly grow, they are here to collaborate with other souls. And the third one was what I call envisioning. Envisioning means not just going into introspection and meditating and going within and being all Buddha-like, but merging the Buddha and the badass. And the badass is that part of you that goes out and wants to rattle the world, that wants to shake up the world, create new things, change systems, improve the world for our children, multiple generations down. These three things, as I went deep within, I realized were the core elements of my soul. So I went back to my team at Mindvalley and I said, look guys, as a company, these three things are going to be the guiding value in everything we do, from who we hire, from the authors we work with, from the programs we put out. And that's when the shift started happening. So let's go deep into this, because each of these ideas has a powerful lesson for everyone listening. Now, I know what you're thinking. Transformation, unity, envisioning. Look, I transform. I am unity-centric. I believe in loving everyone. I believe in envisioning. I build stuff. So what I want you to understand is that it's about nuance. Everybody I know exercises, but Ben Greenfield, our Mindvalley teacher, exercises at a different level. Everyone I know reads, but Jim Quick, he reads at a whole different level. It's about nuance, and what we're going to share here are the nuances of transformation, the nuances of unity, and the nuances of envisioning that make you go from doing it in an ordinary way to doing it at a whole different level. And if you stay with me, you're going to learn those subtle nuances. I want to share again this quote from Surina, who is one of the leaders at the Malaysian government, who said that what took her 4 years of transformation, I was able to teach to 500 people in the government in just a few hours. It's about nuance. So I want to share these lessons with you so that you don't have to go through the pain that I went through trying to figure it out yourself. The first lesson is transformation. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Transformation, great. I do personal growth. I read personal growth books. But there is a powerful next level of how you do it that is what makes it truly matter. And this idea I learned from this man, Sri Kumar Rao. And Sri Kumar was speaking at a Mindvalley event in San Diego about a year ago. And he said this, he said, our whole education system isn't really teaching us what truly matters. They get us obsessed with life from the point of view of our finances and our career. But life is way more than that. There's only one thing we need to be obsessed with. And I asked Sri, well, what is that one thing? And he says, personal growth. And I go, but Sri, you know, we're Mindvalley. We all do personal growth. He goes, no. You don't understand. And he said that, you know, in his cool Indian accent. He said, everything has to be subservient to your personal growth. If your business fails, it doesn't matter. Did you grow? If your business hits $1 billion, it doesn't matter. Did you grow? Everything in life must be nothing more than a vehicle for your personal growth. The art of life, therefore, is to make personal growth number one. This was the first big shakeup for me. I was striving to be the CEO, to be the founder, to get investors so we wouldn't go under. I decided that none of that, which I thought was my most important thing, was truly most important. Not even my family was the most important thing. It was my personal growth. And as I did that, my family got better. My health got better. The business got better. When you make personal growth number one, and when you grow, everything around you grows. That was the first commitment. And that became rule one of how I started living my life. Your thing is not about your thing. Rather, your thing is nothing more than the greatest vehicle for your personal evolution. Everything in life is about personal evolution. And this is what becomes your number one mission in life. I want to introduce you to a simple concept called ROSE, R-O-S-E. Your ROSE is your rate of self-evolution. How fast are you leveling up? Your rate of self-evolution should be the number one thing you are obsessed with in life. Not your career, not your money. And I know this sounds controversial, but not your spouse, not your kids. If your obsession is your rate of self-evolution, you will be the better spouse. You will be the better parent. You want to go within, listen to your soul, and focus on your rate of self-evolution. Now, this brings us to a really powerful idea on why so many people who practice personal growth don't get the results they want. James Clear talks about this in his book, Atomic Habits. I want you to observe this diagram, outcome, process, identity. So let's talk about a simple aspect of personal growth, right? You want to get fitter. So you decide outcome-based. You decide, I want to take my body fat from 22% to 15%. That is outcome-based thinking. That's okay, but it's not the optimal. The second level of thinking is process-based thinking. You decide, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. Awesome, awesome, but not the best way. The best way is an identity shift. It's deciding, I'm going to live life like a modern athlete. Now, when you shift identity, everything else falls into place. You don't have to get obsessed with an outcome, because if you're obsessed with a goal, with an outcome, you're going to feel the ups and downs every time you fail. If you're dealing with process, you have to work up habits and discipline, and that gets tough because life is unpredictable. But if you change your identity to be the person who lives life like a modern athlete, everything else falls into place. Willpower is no longer necessary. Identity shift is the true art of personal growth. Every program we decided to create in Mindvalley now implements identity shift. 20 minutes a day, you're layering on behaviors, identity shifts, new ways of looking at the world. And after 30 days, you create a whole new human being. So the first idea I want you to take down is to focus on shifting identity and not shifting outcome or process. This is one of the most powerful principles you can have. Now I want to give you another idea, and this is from Robin Sharma. Robin Sharma talks about this as the 20-20-20 principle. I mentioned this earlier. Robin Sharma said that the biggest thing you can do for yourself is to invest an hour every day in personal growth. Now, this is how Robin Sharma says we should do it. Firstly, he says, wake up early, ideally before the sun has risen, but you don't have to hold that as a fast rule. But once you're up, spend 20 minutes in exercise. Get your body moving. And of course, when you step out of bed, you're going to be groggy. But he says, look, what do you think is going to happen to you if you actually get down and do those push-ups? You immediately get rid of that. So it's the first few seconds where you make that decision that matters. Ignore the grogginess. Ignore the voice that says, I'm tired. Get down and start moving your body for 20 minutes. Then you spend 20 minutes in a contemplative practice. This could be journaling. This could be meditation, this could be introspection, a contemplative practice. Then you spend 20 minutes studying. Now for sure, you can read a book, and that's great, it's better than nothing. But if you have access to a Mindvalley quest, that's what you want to do, because that is more than just hitting you with facts and figures from a book. It's actually designed to transform identity in 20 minutes a day. And if you're doing that every day, wow, you're going to be getting through 12 quests a year. Think about the difference that's going to make in your life. Every month, you would have mastered the learning methods of Jim Quick, or the longevity methods of Ben Greenfield, or the spiritual attributes of Neil Donald Walsh, or even Robin Sharma's own quest with Mindvalley, Hero, Genius, Legend, 20 minutes a day. And Sharma says that it will be difficult when you first start. Your bullshit excuse machine is going to try to get you off the path. But as you stick to it, something interesting happens. Sharma calls it the default mechanism. When you stick to it for just a few days, it becomes your default. And now, you automatically start doing it. It's now become a default. It is surprisingly easy to layer on new habits. But the first 3 or 4 days is where the pain is. You simply need to get over that hump to create your default. So, let's talk about the toolkit for identity shifting, right? So here's a simple slide that gives you an idea of what I do in my power hour. 20 minutes of a workout. Now I do the 10X methodology, which is an upcoming new quest by Mindvalley. I then go into the 6-phase meditation, and I do an advanced level. There's a new quest on this coming out called Meditation X. I've been working on this now since 2013. And finally, I do 20 minutes going deep into a quest. So I embrace this, and this becomes my life. This is what I do. Now, there's something else that you can do for identity shifts. This is how it works. In every category of your life, you create what is called a lofty question, and you meditate on that. Lofty questions are like affirmations, but they're designed to trick your subconscious into embracing a new identity. An example lofty question is, why do I wake up every day feeling connected to Source? Another might be, why am I such a powerful learner? A third might be, why am I running a $100 million company? A fourth might be, why do I have such a living and exciting relationship? Another might be, why do I have the fit, muscular body of an athlete? Lofty questions override your subconscious identity. It's a shortcut to tricking your brain into embracing a new identity. Try it out. It works incredibly well. Now, lofty questions are a significant step above affirmations. Affirmations often don't work because you have a voice in your head that's going to talk you out of it. You may say, I am a fit, powerful athlete, and that voice might say, no, you aren't. You ate pizza last night. See how that works? But when you shift it to a lofty question, why do I have the fit, muscular body of an athlete? You're programming your subconscious to actually give you the way to get there. I started using that particular lofty question in Jan 2016. Interestingly enough, 3 months later, I discovered new nutritional programs. 6 months later, I discovered new weight training programs. 1 year later, my body had completely shifted. But it started because I was summoning my subconscious to figure it out for me and assemble the right situations, people, and synchronicities to get me there. So lofty questions and the power hour are the two tools you want to bring together to complete your identity shift into the identity of the perpetual transformer. So I want you to know that you could be at your lowest low, but when you start embracing personal growth, things can shift extremely fast. Andrea Dahner from Germany was one of those people who embraced this idea. And what happened is that she said, for the first time, I could clearly see what was behind my curtain of beliefs. That's a really powerful idea. You get to see what's behind your curtain of beliefs, but on the other side of the curtain, that's where your core is. That's where your soul, what your soul desires lies. And that is often one of the things that leads to dramatic transformation. So you've learned the first rule that I believe our soul wants us to learn. Now we come to rule number 2, the rule of unity. And unity is really the idea that as we operate in the world, as we grow into our best selves, we pay attention to how we can contribute to the betterment of other people and for mankind and the ecology. Now, I know what you might be thinking. My life is so broken right now. How can you ask me to focus on other people? And that's what I thought too. I often found that when I was at my dips, when I was at my Kensho moments, that was when, I was not my best self to other people. Because I thought, well, let me just heal myself first. But something remarkable happened one day. We were in Barcelona running Mindvalley University. And one of the remarkable speakers we had brought to Barcelona for Mindvalley University that year in 2017 was Neil Donald Walsh, the author of Conversations with God. And I'm sure you've heard of those books because they sold something like 15 million copies. So a lady raises her hand and says, Neil, what do I do during those moments when I wake up in the morning and I'm feeling sad or depressed or anxious and just icky? And Neil looked at her and said, I need you to remember that your life is not about you. Rather, your life is about the lives of everyone you touch. Stop making it about you. And the audience looked at Neil and they were like, oh, he's so insensitive. But Neil went on to explain, and he said, look, if you are feeling dark or anxious or depressed, those feelings are real. But the best way to overcome it is to move yourself into a life designed to serve. Because the universe will support the people who are supporting life itself. And so the best way is to make your life about something greater. That transformed the room. This gave us Rule 2 at Mindvalley, and Rule 2 that became part of my operating system, which is your life is not about you. Rather, your life is about the lives of everyone you touch. Now, rule number 1 is about your personal growth. Rule number 2 means that as you've become this incredible individual, you're not going to fall prey to becoming what the technical term is an asshole, and instead live your life to create businesses or products or work for businesses or services that make the world better off. You pay attention to people's emotions. You know that even when you're having your dip, a faster way to emerge from that dip is to serve other people. And this really becomes a powerful rule, but it goes beyond that. There are several ways to take this idea and embed it fully in your life so that not only are other people benefiting, but your life seems to be blessed with luck. The first tactical process for this is the concept of the North Star. So, the North Star is a mental hack. And what it means is that rather than think of your life as a series of goals that you have to accomplish or projects that you have to simply do, you ask yourself, what am I going to contribute to humanity? This is a great question, in fact, to ask children. We have to stop asking children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And instead ask children, how do you want to contribute to the world when you grow up? The answers you get become really different. I asked this to my son once, and he said, I want to help clean the air. So I said, okay, Hayden, how would you help clean the air? And he says, well, I'm thinking maybe in this city where I live, there are no Tesla cars. I want to bring Teslas to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Now you see how that changes the dimension of how someone views life? Now what if we did that as adults? What if we had a North Star? So my North Star is spreading enlightened ideas. Everything I do has to do with spreading enlightened ideas. You might have your own North Star, but your North Star is that idea of bettering the world that you want to bring to the world. That is the first tactic for embracing unity. Now, the second aspect of unity is a really powerful idea that I learned from one of our upcoming Mindvalley authors, Ken Wilber himself. Ken is possibly the world's greatest living philosopher, and he certainly is the world's most widely read and translated academic, over 25 books in 40-something languages. Ken has created new models of living that are being used by businesses and countries and governments all around the world. And as I sat with Ken, he explained to me a really interesting concept of unity that blew my mind and changed the way I operate. It comes from a philosopher called Carol Gilligan. And Carol Gilligan says that unity consciousness, the level of moving yourself up to a world-centric worldview where you see the world and want to contribute to the world, is actually really different for men and women. Men talk about rights, they talk about justice, they talk about rules, even when they talk about healing the world. So even highly compassionate men like Martin Luther King, like Gandhi, were looking at the world through certain rules. Now women put care and feelings above rules. So a classic example that Carol Gilligan says is, observe boys and girls playing sports. Let's say a boy makes a mistake and he is off the field. He's sitting in a corner, crying, and he's like, I want to get back in. But the other boys are, sorry, that's the rules. But if girls were playing, they'd say, oh, come on, let him back in. Who cares about the rules? He's crying. The male or the masculine energy tends to emphasize the rules, and the feminine energy emphasizes the feelings. Now, this is a really interesting idea. It doesn't mean that all men are masculine and all women are feminine. These are energies and they work across genders. But we apply this in our life as well. For example, if you look at Mindvalley, we emphasize feelings significantly. For example, when our authors come together at AFES, they don't just show up as per contract, get on a stage, speak, deliver content, and leave. They stay back. We party together. We dress up together. I love this particular photo because you see so many famous authors along with some of our Mindvalley members dressed in togas at an AFES in Greece. People are coming together in a really close sense. And this rule versus feeling thing also applies to how you run the world and how you function in your job. We live in a society that emphasizes rules more because, unfortunately, over the last 100 years, the entire industrial age was created by men. But what we are seeing right now as women come into the workforce and as science starts studying this is that feelings, what we call touchy-feely, actually matter. And these have to also have to play a significant role in work. This article recently came out in Inc. 95% of Stanford MBAs have taken this leadership course. Now you can too. And the article went to talk about a particular course at Stanford called Organizational Behavior 374, Interpersonal Dynamics. However, The course isn't about rules. In fact, the nickname for the course by Stanford students themselves is the Touchy-Feely course. And this is the course that has become one of the most popular ones at Stanford. Stanford started offering this course publicly for people outside the program at $5,500 a pop. And they're developing a week-long version that you can attend for $16,000 a pop. Imagine that, $5,500, $16,000 to learn touchy-feeliness and how to bring that into life. But the reason is because modern science is saying this, and I'm going to read from that Inc. article. More companies are seeking candidates and managers who have a combination of soft and hard skills, according to job market analytics. True unicorn employees, in other words, the best people who work at a company, are those who have two strong, seemingly unrelated skills. One left brain, logic and analytical reasoning, and one right brain, intuition and creativity. Intuition and creativity, these are skills that have been missing from our education system for so long. This is one of the reasons, guys, you notice that in so many Mindvalley programs, we're bringing in the feelings aspect, what you might call the touchy-feely, because this is the job skill of the future. This is one of the single most powerful determinants for how successful you're going to be at work. And when you start taking Mindvalley programs, you automatically become more unity-minded. Here's a quote from a lady called Andrea Triter on what happened when she started taking Mindvalley quests. She said, #true story. Since joining Mindvalley some 4 years ago, I went from I only care about myself and my family, the rest can go and figure it out on their own, to I love all humans and entities in the universe and I have the responsibility to protect them. That is baked into our system. And I want you to know something else which is fascinating. A study by Harvard measured something called social connectivity score. And what they basically said is that certain people in a company have a high level of social connectivity score. These are people whom their coworkers rate as the kindest, the friendliest, the guy or girl who, when they're going out for coffee, they'll ask you if they can get you a cup too. This is called social connectivity. Now, Harvard found that if you score in the top 25% of social connectivity, your odds of getting a raise in the next 2 years go up a whopping 40%. So apparently, if you want to compete in a workplace for a raise, the best way to compete is through kindness, a competition of kindness. And this is why when you start taking Mindvalley programs, I really believe it is one of the best investments you can make on yourself, because you absorb the skills of unity that traditional schooling doesn't teach you, yet modern science says is so crucial for your promotion, your career advancement, and your success at life itself. By the way, we got this letter from Marina Rosa from Germany. She took the Awaken the Species program, and she said this: we sometimes feel powerless with all the things happening around us, but the good news is you don't need to be a president or a super wealthy person to make a difference. Everyone can help to change our planet for the better. So no matter where you are, when you understand these ideas and how to apply the unity principle, you understand just how powerful you can be in helping heal the world. Now, we come to the third principle. We've spoken about transformation as a core soul desire. We've spoken about unity as a core soul desire. But I want you to know that simply putting those two together isn't enough. You see, if you're only about personal growth, and if you're only about unity, there is that risk that you fall into what I call the kumbaya state, and you don't actually take action to better the world. Ken Wilber, one of our authors, has a famous essay called Egolessness. And in his essay, Egolessness, he says this: think of the great yogis, saints, and sages, from Moses to Jesus to Padmasambhava. They were not feeble-minded milquetoast, but movers and shakers, from bullwhips in the temple to subduing entire countries. They rattled the world on its own terms, not in some pie-in-the-sky piety. Many of them instigated massive social revolutions that have continued for thousands of years. And they did so not because they avoided the physical, mental, and spiritual dimensions of humanness and the ego that is its vehicle, but because they engaged them with a drive and intensity that shook the world to its very foundations. I love that quote. The world, in short, does not need more people who simply go into passive introspection. You need to combine the Buddha with the badass. And this is what the third philosophy is about, the idea of envisioning. You can envision a better product, a book. You can envision your contribution to a company. You can envision simply making someone's life better. You can envision being the best damn mom or dad you can be. But you go out there and you better the world in a powerful way. And the more you do this, the more impact you're able to generate. When I first started this process of bettering the world, for 5 years, I was teaching small meditation classes. But over time, as I stuck to that, it grew and grew and grew. And last year, 250,000 students enrolled in 30-day programs in Mindvalley. And that's growing and growing and growing. We need to embrace envisioning as a core principle because the world needs people who are able to be warriors for the world and not just passive meditators. And now I know a lot of you might be thinking, but God damn it, Vishen, I have my own problems to fix. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to find a reasonable person to date. I'm trying to get recognized at work. Here's the secret though. And this brings us to rule number 3. Rule number 3 is this. When you dream big, your problems become small. The problem with most people is that their problems are too small. The world needs people with bigger problems. Stop worrying about the guy who didn't text you back. Stop worrying about what you're going to have for lunch. Instead, think about how you're going to change human education, how you're going to change the world, how you're going to make the world better for people en masse. Now, when you do that, something lights up within you, and the little problems, they start to fade away. I believe that the universe doesn't play favorites. The universe wants to support people who want to better and build upon the universe. And so, when you tackle bigger problems, I believe you gain allies, synchronicities, coincidences, these things that seem to whisper in your ear and guide you on the right path. Those abilities, seemingly magical, are awakened when you raise your hand and say, I'm here to serve the universe. And the little stuff, it disappears. But guess what? As you start tackling these bigger problems, the universe will put before you the right opportunities, the right tools you need to get healthy. The man or woman that you desire will find you more attractive because nothing is more attractive than someone driven by mission. The little stuff that irks you, not getting recognized at work, well, if you were changing the world en masse, you're being recognized by millions. All of these things, all of the little problems fall away as you stand up to take on bigger challenges. This is the essence of envisioning. So a lot of people want to know what happened in Mindvalley in 2016. What shifted? How did we go from a company that had almost gone bankrupt 3 years in a row that suddenly exploded? I decided to change how I was looking at things. I decided to make a commitment to creating the best personal growth programs in the world. And when we looked at the programs we had some really good programs, but they were traditional online courses. And guess what? Traditional online courses have an 8% completion rate. This means 92% of people who buy an online course don't complete it. Now in Mindvalley, we had about a 20% completion rate, but it still wasn't good enough. We wanted people to truly complete it and shift. So we developed a whole new method of learning called Quest. And in that process, we took down over 1,000 programs, focused on 10 of our most amazing programs, and then built a whole new platform called Quest. The first one we launched was Jeffrey Allen's Unlocking Transcendence. And we went on to launch more and more and more Quest. And we found that completion rates went up from an industry average 8% to closer to 60 to 80%. Lives were getting transformed. People fell in love with what we do. People who work for Intel and Facebook and Google and governments asked us to come in and help heal their countries and their companies. And Mindvalley became the Mindvalley that we know today. But it started because we made a commitment. We were not here to sell online programs. We were here to truly transform humanity itself. The bigger the goal, the bigger the blessing. And that is what you want to think about when you practice the art of envisioning. So how do you get there? Now this is where the tools I'm going to give you get a little bit nuanced. It's not just about setting big goals. What I'm going to say next might surprise you a bit. The first aspect is about actually setting small goals. I call these self-fueled goals. First, before you take on something big, you must be in a state where you are grateful for what you have right now. A self-fueled goal is a goal so simple that you can lose all your money, all your friends, be homeless on the streets of New York, and still, through the act of consciousness, attain this goal. These are three really powerful self-fueled goals that I set for myself. The first is, why am I always surrounded by love? Notice, I've taken a lofty question and I've made that the goal. The second is, why am I always learning and growing? And the third is, why is the universe always unfolding for me in the most amazing way? Now, think about that. If I was homeless in the streets of New York, if I had lost everything and I knew no one, I could still wake up and be surrounded by love because love can be generated from within. Second, I can always learn and grow. Even with no money, I can go to the New York Public Library, check out a book, sit in a street corner and read and learn and grow. And third, I can always walk through Central Park, which is free, and be amazed by the beauty around me. By having those three self-fueled goals, what happens is you make yourself more unfuckwithable. You know that you're going to be okay. And once you have established that as a baseline, you can layer on the bigger goals. So the first step is, as you write your lofty questions, ensure that 3 to 5 of your lofty questions are self-fueled. And these are things that you generate from within. It's a powerful idea. Next, you add the big goals. Now for the big goals, I took a lesson from Google. I was just speaking on Mindvalley and our transformation model at Google in Chicago, including many of the ideas we shared here. But one of the things I learned from Google is the idea of the 50-50 rule. 50% of all of my goals must have a 50% chance of failure. And you can trickle this down to a departments within a company. 50% of the goals of a department should have a 50% chance of failure. Now I know this sounds interesting, right? But basically it means this. Half your goals should fail half the time. Meditate on that. You see, if you're achieving 100% of all your goals, you're probably thinking too small. But if you decide that 50% of your goals are going to have a 50% chance of failure, you give yourself room to really dream big and you make failure okay. Remember, rule number 1 on personal growth, Sri Kumar Rao said, if your business fails or if your goal fails, it doesn't matter. Did you grow? Right? So you can see how all of these things layer on to themselves. So I set for myself goals which are so big, they have a 50% chance of failure. But that is what keeps me fueled every day. And everybody in my company works the same. Now think about what this might do to your life. You have self-fueled goals which are super easy. And you have big goals which you know it's okay to fail at. When you do that, you have truly embraced envisioning at a soul and spiritual level. Now we went through 3 powerful ideas and each of that had directly applicable tools that you can bring in. If you learned something useful, please mentally say, hell yes, awesome. Now let me quickly recap. The first thing was transformation, and we spoke about the idea of knowing your rate of self-evolution, your rows. Next, we spoke about the lofty questions technique. That technique shifted my life and now you know it too. Third, we spoke about creating your power hour. That is a powerful idea that has the ability to transform you. Next, we went into unity. We spoke about the idea of the North Star. And we spoke about feelings versus rules. You learn more about these ideas in programs like the Quest for Personal Mastery or the new upcoming Ken Wilber program on Mindvalley. We spoke about then envisioning, the idea of self-fueled goals and the 50-50 rule. You will learn about this more in my upcoming programs, Meditation X and the new Becoming Limitless. All of these are powerful ideas that you can directly take back into your life. And you can implement them almost immediately after this masterclass. So I hope you gained incredible value from those. In our brief time together, I've given you the exact formula I spent years perfecting to make transformation a way of life. You now immediately possess it, and with it, all the power it holds. You now know why personal growth should be your #1 priority and how you can measure it thanks to rate of self-evolution. You know why unity is such an important value system for everyone and how to embrace unity at a core spiritual level. You know how to envision your future by creating self-fueled goals and how to also be unrealistic and create bold goals and have high tolerance for failure. I've given you the roadmap to live a life that is almost synchronous and magical, because the world needs more people who are ready to wake up and help heal the world. And all of this in just an hour or so. So imagine just how far you can go if we went a little bit deeper. So knowing what you know now, I want you to answer the following questions in your mind. Can you see how you can overcome obstacles to your growth and stop being stuck? Remember the concepts of living from identity versus process and outcome. The concept of Rule 1, making sure personal growth is the biggest, most important thing in your life. Do you feel more comfortable to implement habits that are going to help you put personal growth first in your life? Remember the 2020 rule from Robin Sharma. Remember the concept of identity shifts. Can you see yourself using what I showed you today to help accelerate your rate of self-evolution? Even if you use just a tiny fraction of what I showed you, would you say our time together was well spent? And would you like to go even deeper and really go down the rabbit hole with not just me, but with all the amazing teachers in Mindvalley? So we could part ways now, and you could go on and tweak your life based on what you learned, and I'm sure you're going to have great results. But if you agree that just an hour together was transformative, what if we spent a year together? What if not just myself, but every single major author on Mindvalley's Quest platform came together to help you become your best future self? And what if we did that every single day for 20 minutes? Where would you be? This is what I want to open you to. Mindvalley is making a massive shift. It is the biggest single shift we've ever done as a company. It's great for our customers because by believing in us, you've allowed us to become so big that we now have the best in the industry. And I want to unwrap for you a powerful new way of learning and studying with Mindvalley. We call it Mindvalley All Access, and we're really excited to bring it to you. So, first, answer this question. What is the best product you can invest in? I believe the single best product you can invest in is personal growth. Even Warren Buffett said the single best investment is an investment in your own growth. Now, what are the best personal growth products out there for speed learning or muscle building or longevity? Those are the programs that Mindvalley builds because of our tech platform and because we go straight to the world's best teacher. So we are definitely, if not the best, one of the best. Therefore, every dollar you spend on Mindvalley, even if it's $1 or $2 a day, is going to give you probably the best return of any other dollar you spend that day. And as Mindvalley has expanded to serving governments and serving companies, as close to 1 million people are going to be coming onto our platform this year, we know that because of economies of scale, we can lower the price so we can serve even more. And this is what we're about to do. Mindvalley All Access Pass means that for one single annual fee, which adds up to about $2 a day, you unlock every major program in Mindvalley and all upcoming programs. You never have to worry about what program to take again. It means everything is unlocked for you. You can choose to do a quest a day, and you could complete 12 quests a year. You could even choose to do 2 quests a day, because remember, quests are often 20 minutes or less. And therefore, you could complete 24 quests a year. This is a way to fully immerse in personal growth. It's a way to get up-leveled on everything that you need to know to be a modern-day master, but that our schooling system forgot to teach us. It is the most powerful way to grow like you've never grown before. And it's by getting access to the best teachers in the world, because that is who we seek, on the best learning platform in the world, because that is what Mindvalley Quest is becoming, and with a community of people so aligned with you in terms of values, a community built on these ideas of transformation, unity, and envisioning. The cost of enrolling. Let's say you decided you wanted to do a quest a month in Mindvalley. one quest every month. The cost of enrolling in all our quests is roughly $9,080. But what if every single quest in Mindvalley was unlocked for you for just $2 a day? That means for $2 a day, which is pretty much half the price that you'd pay for a Starbucks coffee, you get access to as many quests as you want every single day. You could do a quest a month. You could do 3 quests a month. You decide. Each quest is only 20 minutes, so it's easily workable. What if for $2 a day, you could go through one of the most dramatic transformations in your life? This is essentially what happened to me between 2016 and now. I've literally started looking like a different person, but also every idea and mindset and skill and identity I had before has been removed and upgraded because of my dedication to these Mindvalley quests. What if for $2 a day, you got access to the best teachers in the world on the best learning platform with 800% better completion rates, and all for just 20 minutes a day? Look, funnily enough, according to the National Center for Biotechnology Information, they ran a 3-year study on 2,000 people. 75% of you are social media users. And if you use social media, you spend an average of 2 hours a day on social media. So 20 minutes a day for your own personal growth should be easy to come by. Just cut down on some of that social media usage that isn't serving you too much anyway. So imagine having unlimited access to all Mindvalley quests, but not just that. Imagine also having unlimited access to all the communities that exist around these quests. We have 250,000 amazing people around the world, people who live these values of transformation, unity, envisioning, unifying in our communities, supporting each other. What if you had access to these people? Imagine how you could grow. This is a simple video of just one community revolving around Lisa Nichols' public speaking program, Speak and Inspire. Notice how people are so openly sharing. Notice, in this case, how someone is having a breakdown and other community members are there for her. You see, Mindvalley Quest isn't just passive learning, it's learning in unity. And it isn't just a simple online course, it's one of the most advanced platforms for learning, which is why it's now being tested in schools in Finland. Large companies like PricewaterhouseCoopers are introducing it to their employees en masse. And the platform is getting better and better and better every quarter, with new features being added from a team of over 100 designers and engineers. And as you get into Mindvalley Quest, it's not just technology. The level of filmmaking is jaw-dropping and is constantly being up-leveled. We now spend as much on a quest as what one would spend on a documentary film. Check out this quick 30-second preview of just the Stephen Kotler quest, The Habit of Ferocity.
The problem is that we're not living up to our full potential because we're not in the habit of living up to our full potential. The lie in personal development is that you can go through yourself, that you're going to find meaning by just doing the hard work on yourself, on the inside. The truth of the matter is that's a great place to start, but all it's going to do is take you to the starting line. It's not going to get you to a life of meaning, to a life of fulfillment.
So now you know how powerful this platform is. What if the entire platform was open to you for $2 a day? You could decide to upgrade your superbrain this month. You could decide to extend your lifespan with Ben Greenfield's Longevity Blueprint. You could decide to explore deep spirituality with Anodea Judith's Chakra program. We spoke about Sri Kumar Rao. You can go deeper in his philosophy. He is one of the greatest MBA teachers in America and combines Eastern wisdom with modern MBA programs. Think about what the quest for personal mastery would do to your career. Want to build up habits of top performers? Learn from Robin Sharma and his program, Hero, Genius, Legend. Want to expand your heart set and become one of the most compassionate people you know and touch and heal the world as you move through it? Learn from the legendary Neale Donald Walsch. And don't forget, When you are part of the Mindvalley All Access for just $2 a day, you also get instant access to all of the remarkable new programs that we are bringing forth. We spoke about Michael Beckwith, the new version of life envisioning is coming forth. I spoke to you about my health transformation. That is part of a program that has been 2 years in the making called 10X, which changes the way you use the gym. Imagine getting ripped and getting the body of your dreams by 10Xing the results you get from every minute you spend in the gym. There's a science to this. Imagine becoming a better parent by learning from Shafali Sabari, who has been brought onto Oprah 7 times because of her brilliant insights on parenting. I recently, as part of my transformation, went through a conscious uncoupling. My wife and I amicably ended our marriage of 19 years, and it happened so beautifully. That was because I was leveling up, and I knew a former construct of society was no longer serving me. But when this happened, many other people said, look, divorce is part of regular life. 50% of us are going to go through a divorce in the Western world. How can we all go through it in the most conscious way? And this is why part of Mindvalley All Access is Conscious Uncoupling, the legendary program by Catherine Woodward Thomas. I'm also working on a new program. The code name is Spiritual Warrior. It's a program that brings in all the mental models and spiritual practices that combines Buddha with badass. If you've seen the movie Doctor Strange, this program is kind of like that. Jim Quick is coming up with his new program on speed reading. What would your life look like if you could read a book in half the time? Imagine how much more you're going to learn and grow. Ken Wilber, whom we spoke about earlier, is also coming on with his new program on integral theory. Once you learn this, everything about how you see the world transforms. It's like having Iron Man's Jarvis framework guiding you in your day-to-day interactions. And imagine going deep in mindfulness philosophy. Imagine how to get rid of anxiety, depression, sadness, worry by embracing the mindset of some of the world's most powerful monks. This is what Gelong Thubten is bringing to Mindvalley with his new program. All of these programs up-level your life in different ways, and all of this is $2 a day. It adds up to $7.95 a year, and that is what the All Access Pass is about. For just $7.95 a year, you get access to the world's greatest teachers on a powerful learning platform. In 20 minutes a day, you can totally transform your life. As long as you do more than 2 quests a year, this program allows you to save. And the best part is, when you take part in this program, you're going to be doing a lot more quests because everything is open for you. There are 25 different programs currently available and more being added every quarter. If you scroll below this video, we've made a list of every program you get access to with All Access. And I know it might be tricky to know what to start. So we've created a 22-minute life assessment that you can take on life.mindvalley.com that looks at your life from 12 different categories and lets you see where you might be falling short. See, personal growth is not like your career. In your career, if you're a designer, to grow, you stick to design. You don't move from design to programming. You need to specialize. But in personal growth, you need to look at the world holistically. You cannot be crushing it with money but have your health collapsing. You can't be super healthy but have your relationships crumbling. You need to look at personal growth holistically, and we help you look at it through 12 categories. And depending on your 12 category score, you will know where to start and what programs to begin with. You typically want to begin with the programs where you are weakest. And as you do this, you're part of an online group. I showed you just how powerful our online groups are. You can dive into an online group for a specific quest, or you can join the online group of our All Access students, such as yourself, the most passionate students who are making personal growth part of their lifestyle. And they are facilitators there guiding you along the way. So as a quick recap, Mindvalley All Access gives you access to every single quest and course on Mindvalley. It comes up to around $2 a day or $7.95 a year. You can take as many quests as you want simultaneously. You can move from one to another depending on what you're facing in life. You get a life assessment that you can take. It It takes 22 minutes that will help you identify where to start. You can choose to join multiple online communities depending on what you want to study so that you have allies on your growth journey. You get access to a powerful learning platform that you can use on Apple TV, on your Android or iPhone, or on your desktop. You can therefore listen to this anywhere, and it's so easy to learn. And not only that, you get access to the world's best personal growth programs, leading edge filmmaking, a leading edge technology platform, and a community that always has your back. Every time we create any of our Quest programs, we ask ourselves, is this going to be the singular best program in the world for our community? And we then put together a bigger budget than any other company out there to produce these programs. And as a result, when you take a Mindvalley program, you know it's the best in the world. What you're getting access to is the leading edge, best in the world category program for every dimension of personal growth at your fingertips. This, I believe, is the ultimate education you can invest in for yourself. Now, at this point, you don't even have to make up your mind right now. Scroll down and enroll. Get access to everything Mindvalley and watch your life change. And remember, there are 10 days where you can change your mind. You can explore everything, and you feel this isn't for you, you can go to mindvalley.com/refund and just give yourself a refund. It's automatic. Our programs are so good, we allow our customers to actually refund themselves. You don't even have to send us an email. Now, as we go through this, I know there are some questions that might emerge. These are the most common questions that people have. The first is, can I do this? What I want to say is that the best time to do personal growth is when you are feeling that you can't. The best time to do personal growth is when you're going through a moment of pain or suffering. Personal growth is the part to get you out of that. That was how I got out of my 3 years of pain. So yes, you can do this. And if you think your life doesn't in any way resemble the life you want, remember that picture of me from 2003. I've been there. But the continuous dedication to personal growth is how you get to the life you want to be. Next, will you have time? The best part about Mindvalley Quest is its behavior stacking. 20 minutes a day. It's easy to make the time. And even if you lead a really busy life, know that you can always find those 20 minutes in what Tony Robbins calls net time, or no extra time. When you're commuting to work, when you're in a grocery store, when you're on a treadmill, it's easy to find no extra time in your life where you can open the app, plug in your earphone, and go on a complete soul upgrade. Third, a big question is, will I feel overwhelmed with so many different programs? With the power of the community and the life assessment, you have guides who will help you understand the best program you can take. You can go in the community and ask a question. Describe, what are some of your life situations or challenges, and you will find that Mindvalley people are so passionate about helping each other. It's that unity drive, you see, that people will respond and support you and help guide you along the way. So yes, you might feel overwhelmed, but we have the tools, the assessment, the facilitators, and the community to help take care of you, and we got your back. And the final thing is, look, many of you might say, I'm already busy. I'm the CEO mom who already has enough of a difficult time getting to the gym. How will I do this? One of the most beautiful parts about this whole journey is that busyness disappears. Remember that quote from Rumi. When I run after what I think I want, my days are a furnace of distress and anxiety. That is the idea of busyness. But if I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me and without any pain. From this I understand that what I want also wants me, is looking for me and attracting me. There's a great secret in this for everyone who can grasp it. I told you I would share with you what Rumi meant. What I believe Rumi was saying is that when we can get to our core of who we are and why our soul is here, we understand that what our soul wants is what the universe wants. And that's when the illusion of busyness disappears. Busyness is an artificial construct that we can remove from our lives. Overwhelm is an artificial construct that we can remove in our lives. Many of the programs that we have here actually teach you how to access intuition on demand, flow states on demand. You will learn that even the idea of multitasking is false. Your soul is built to multitask. I'm currently producing 5 documentaries, 2 festivals, working on 10 new personal growth programs, running Mindvalley, writing 3 books, and have 2 programs out. When you learn to tap into these alternate energies, busyness and overwhelm no longer exist. Your soul is built to multitask, but you got to tap into additional levels of understanding and energy that you do not learn in traditional schooling. So, thank you for joining me. I cannot wait to see you as an all-access member, and I hope you gained a ton out of this masterclass, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen when we go on this full journey together. And me and the full force of all our Mindvalley teachers are with you every single day. So as you scroll down and explore the full list of quests included in this program, I cannot wait to see you enroll. And just while you're scrolling down, we're going to play some beautiful videos of people like you all across the world who were so transformed by being part of this Mindvalley platform that they wanted to share their message with the entire world and to encourage you to dive in, go deep, trust yourself, and make transformation a key part of your life. Thank you.
So I did a course by Jim Quick. The purpose in it is to help with memory. It's called Super Brain Quest. Every day there are activities that you do. They're usually about 15 to 20 minutes long. He gives you different hacks that you can use to therefore improve your memory. And my title is a female pelvic medicine reconstructive surgeon, or otherwise known as a urogynecologist. Before I became a physician, I went to nursing school and I did practice for a couple of years. During college, during nursing school, during medical school, I had to spend an inordinate amount of time learning just dry facts. And it was pharmaceutical drugs, muscles, bones, surgical instruments, just so much information, and it just took so much time. And I used essentially rote memory. Now I've learned these great hacks from Jim Quick. I actually took a day or two to learn 40 elements on the periodic table. And wow, had I known that before, I would have been just so much happier. So Jim Quick, where the heck were you all my life? What I love about this program is simply stated, it makes me happy and it makes me giggle. There are so many things really to address in terms of how I've had a transformation. I mentioned earlier that I'm a urogynecologist. Because I've been in the area since the year 2000, I have a lot of general gynecology patients, which I see for their well women exams annually. And during that time, it's a really important visit because we talk about a lot of preventative measures. We talk about diet and exercise. I've tried to use every clever way that I can come up with to try to motivate my patients, and I kind of run out of some of them. But now that I've done the course, one of the acronyms that Jim Quick uses is called eliminating or killing the ants, which stands for automatic negative thoughts. Whenever I have patients who come in and I counsel them on diet and exercise, for example, I can counsel them and say, well, if you can't follow the diet, or you feel guilty about not doing it, or you find a reason that you cannot exercise and then you feel bad and you didn't reach your goal, well, let's just squash that idea. When I do put them on a weight loss plan, they do come back within a month or 2. And so I've already had the benefit of seeing that these patients are implementing this particular acronym in their life, and they come back and say that they were inspired. So it's been really great to make a difference in their life using something so simple as that. And I've been able to also adopt that acronym in myself personally. One of Jim Quick's lessons involves using what he calls the location method in order to remember a list of things in order. When I was applying the location method to the current quest that my husband and I are doing, it's called Lifebook Quest. Basically, it's to improve the 12 aspects of your life. What that entails is you picture yourself in your home, because that's a place of familiarity, and you start with naming 5 objects in that room. And then you correspond each object to a subject, for example, that you're going to be speaking about. Jim Quick, I cannot thank you enough for teaching me these different life hacks that I can implement in my everyday life. I call these my pearls of endorphins because I get such a rush when I am able to learn something new and learn it very efficiently. Again, thank you.
Got connected with Mindvalley through Krista Marie Sheldon. Spent some of our last dollars on her course, and now we own our own firm. We're multimillionaires, and things have really changed around once we were able to become open to the other ways of looking at things.
Our family has 6 members, and being on food stamps, it was really shameful. We were ashamed, so I wanted to get a mentor, and I came across Krista Marie Sheldon, and we spent literally our last dollars on her, and we asked her to mentor us. One of her team members started mentoring us, and now we're millionaires, multi-millionaires actually.
It came to a point where trying something new and being uncomfortable trying something new was less uncomfortable than the situation we were living in.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that difficult of a transition once we recognized that there was something deeper to, a deeper way to look at things.